John Henry Holliday was born on August 1, 1851, in Griffin, Georgia. Raised in a middle-class family, his father was a respected war veteran, and his mother instilled in him a love for learning. Tragically, Alice passed away when Doc was just 14 years old, a loss that deeply affected him. Despite personal upheaval, Doc excelled in his studies and received a classical education. He went on to study dentistry, influenced by his uncle, a prominent dentist. In 1872, Doc graduated from the Pennsylvania College of Dental Surgery, earning his degree as a doctor of dental surgery. In 1873, shortly after graduating from dental school, Doc Holliday received a devastating diagnosis: tuberculosis. Advised to seek drier climates, Doc made a life-altering decision to head west. The American West in the 1870s was a land of opportunity and danger. Doc traveled from town to town, seeking both his fortune and some relief from his illness. His dental practice proved difficult to maintain due to constant coughing fits. As his health declined, Doc found himself increasingly drawn to saloons and gambling halls. He discovered a talent for gambling, particularly poker, and a knack for handling a firearm. These skills would come to define Doc Holliday as much as his dental degree. The saloons and gambling dens of the Wild West became Doc Holliday's new office, a place where fortunes were won and lost in the blink of an eye. In these smoky establishments, Doc found camaraderie among gamblers, gunslingers, lawmen, and outlaws. The saloon was a melting pot of characters, each with their own stories and secrets. His reputation as a skilled gambler grew, as did his notoriety for his quick temper and deadly skill with a gun. Every game was a test of wits and nerve, and Doc rarely backed down. He practiced regularly, knowing survival often depended on the quickness of his draw. The sound of gunfire was a constant reminder of the stakes. Doc occasionally took on the role of a faro dealer, maintaining order and settling disputes. His presence commanded respect, and his decisions were rarely questioned. He also found himself on the wrong side of the law, his temper leading him into trouble. Brawls and arrests were not uncommon, and Doc navigated these challenges with a mix of bravado and caution. Life in the saloons was a far cry from the life Doc had envisioned for himself. The constant tension and danger were a stark contrast to his earlier dreams, but in this dangerous world he found a sense of purpose, living on his own terms. The saloon became his stage, and he played his part with unmatched intensity. The Wild West tested a man's mettle, and Doc Holliday was no exception. Every day was a battle, and every night a gamble, but through it all, Doc remained a legend. Few friendships are as celebrated as the bond between Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp. Their paths first crossed in Dodge City, Kansas, a boomtown notorious for its saloons and gambling dens. Earp, a lawman known for his cool demeanor, found an unlikely ally in Holliday. Their friendship was forged in the crucible of the Wild West, tempered by danger and loyalty. Earp recognized Holliday's intelligence and courage, while Holliday respected Earp's sense of justice. They faced down outlaws and stood shoulder to shoulder in some of the most famous gunfights in American history. Their bond, one of mutual respect and understanding, would become the stuff of legend. Dodge City, Kansas, in the late 1870s, was a microcosm of the Wild West. It was here that Doc Holliday's reputation as a gambler and a gunman solidified. Dodge City's saloons and gambling dens were the heart of the action. Wyatt Earp, serving as assistant city marshal, often relied on Holliday for assistance. Despite some controversy, their partnership proved effective in maintaining order. Earp and Holliday, along with Wyatt's brothers, worked to bring law and order to Dodge City. Their exploits would become the stuff of legend, cementing their place in the annals of the Wild West. In 1881, Doc Holliday and the Earp brothers found themselves in Tombstone, Arizona, a town that would soon become infamous. Tombstone, a booming silver mining town, was a magnet for fortune seekers, adventurers, and outlaws alike. The town's rapid growth brought with it a mix of lawlessness and opportunity. The Earp brothers initially tried their hand at mining, but were soon drawn into a conflict with a group known as the Cowboys, a notorious gang of outlaws. The tensions between the Earps and the Cowboys erupted on October 26, 1881, in a vacant lot behind the OK Corral, a seemingly ordinary location that would become legendary. The gunfight, a brief but violent exchange lasting only about 30 seconds, would become one of the most iconic events in the history of the American West, symbolizing the lawlessness of the era. Doc Holliday, armed with his trusty revolver and a sawed-off shotgun, played a pivotal role in the confrontation, his reputation as a deadly gunslinger cemented. When the smoke cleared, 3 cowboys lay dead, and Virgil and Morgan Earp were wounded. Doc Holliday emerged unscathed, his legend growing even larger. The gunfight at the OK Corral solidified the Earp brothers and Doc Holliday as enduring legends of the Wild West, their names forever etched in history. It became one of the most famous gunfights in American history, a symbol of the tumultuous and often violent frontier days. The gunfight at the OK Corral cast a long shadow over the lives of all involved, leaving a lasting impact on the small town of Tombstone. The Earp brothers and Doc Holliday soon found themselves facing legal charges and the ever-present threat of revenge from their enemies. The legal battle that followed was a tangled web of accusations, conflicting testimonies, and intense public scrutiny. The Earps and Holliday were eventually cleared of any wrongdoing, but the victory felt hollow and bittersweet. The Cowboys launched a series of brutal attacks, culminating in the assassination of Morgan Earp and the maiming of Virgil Earp, leaving the family devastated. Wyatt Earp, consumed by grief and rage, formed a posse and set out on a relentless vendetta ride to seek justice. Doc Holliday, his health rapidly deteriorating, was unable to join his friend on this final mission. The vendetta ride marked the end of an era for Wyatt Earp and the closing chapter of a violent saga that would be remembered for generations. The gunfight at the OK Corral and its aftermath solidified the legend of Doc Holliday, making him an enduring figure in the annals of the Wild West. As the 1880s progressed, Doc Holliday's health continued to deteriorate. He bounced from town to town, seeking relief from his illness and respite from violence. He spent time in Colorado and Wyoming, hoping the mountain air might provide some relief. Despite his declining health, Doc Holliday never lost his edge. He continued to gamble, though his winnings were often spent on medicine and doctors. He still carried his guns, his temper becoming more unpredictable as his body weakened. He was a shadow of his former self, haunted by his past. Through it all, Doc Holliday maintained his sharp wit and sardonic sense of humor. He faced his fate with a stoicism that surprised those who knew him only as a fearsome gunfighter. In the spring of 1887, Doc Holliday's journey led him to Glenwood Springs, Colorado. He hoped the town's healing hot springs might offer some relief from tuberculosis. He checked into the Hotel Glenwood, known for its luxurious accommodations. By this time, Doc Holliday was a shell of his former self. He was too weak to walk to the springs, relying on a wheelchair. On the morning of November 8, 1887, Doc Holliday died in his hotel bed. He was just 36 years old. Legend has it that his last words were, "This is funny," a final, ironic jab at the hand fate had dealt him. Doc Holliday was buried in Linwood Cemetery, overlooking the town of Glenwood Springs. Doc Holliday's life has captivated the American imagination for over a century. From dime novels to Hollywood blockbusters, his story has been told and retold. He has become an archetype of the Wild West, his image forever linked to gunsmoke in saloons. Holliday's portrayal in popular culture has been as varied as the interpretations of his complex character. Val Kilmer's portrayal of Holliday in Tombstone is considered by many to be the definitive on-screen representation. Doc Holliday's enduring presence in popular culture is a testament to the fascination with the American West. Doc Holliday's legacy is as complex and contradictory as the man himself. He was a Southern gentleman who became a notorious gambler and gunfighter. He was a skilled dentist who resorted to violence, a man with a sharp wit and a hair-trigger temper. He was a loyal friend and a ruthless enemy, living and dying by his own code. Despite his flaws, Doc Holliday remains a captivating figure. He lived his life on his own terms, facing his demons and mortality with stoicism. Doc Holliday's story is a reminder that the Wild West was a complex and nuanced place. He remains an enigma, a symbol of the enduring allure of the American West and the power of legend.